Good evening, YouTube, and welcome back to another edition of Paisano's Music and Vinyl Talk. I am your host, Paisano. Tonight we're going to talk about a British rock group that pretty much had a revolving door as far as members go. Members came and members went, but they were always led by their lead singer, David Coverdale, who was Ian Gillan's replacement in the mid-70s in the group Deep Purple. Now, this album is called Slide It In. David Coverdale was known for his sexual innuendo in some of his titles and some of his songs, and this album was no exception. It was released in 1984. It has a who's who of British rock in this lineup. And it's a good, solid British rock album. Definitely a very, very solid album from start to finish. Thanks to the guitar work. And I got a little more to say on that a little later in the video. But Whitesnake was a group that seemed to be bigger in Europe up until 1987 when they released an absolutely blockbuster album just called Whitesnake. And that changed things for them dramatically. They became one of the biggest rock groups in the world, actually, in 87, 88. They were a big draw, headlining festivals all over the world. But this was just another one of their releases on the way to that. And let's see, on this album, you had David Coverdale singing. You had John Lord on keyboards. And I've been doing a little reading about this album, and he wasn't the only one that did keyboards on this. I think it was Bill Como, who I never heard of. He did some keyboard work on this. He's not listed. Mel Galley on guitar and vocals. John Sykes on guitar. And from what I understand, John Sykes joined a little late in this project, and they had to overdub his guitar parts on top of Mickey Moody and Mel Galley's guitar contributions for this release, not the actual European release. This is a reissue from 1984. Neil Murray on bass, and from what I understand, he did not do the original bass parts on this. The original bass, I can't remember who did it, but they replaced all the bass with Neil Murray's. But one person who did all the drumming and all the drumming alone was the great Cozy Powell, appeared on this. I mean, this is really a who's who of British rock. No doubt, no doubt. This came out on Geffen Records. David Geffen, the music mogul, had Whitesnake from very early on. Let's go over the track list, and you got Slide It In. That's first. Slow and Easy. I think they would recycle Slow and Easy on later albums, if I'm not mistaken. Love Ain't No Stranger, All or Nothing, and Gambler closes out side 1. Side 2, Guilty of Love, Hungry for Love, Give Me More Time, Spit It Out, and Standing in the Shadow. Now, David Coverdale is nothing if not a romantic of sort. All these songs pretty much are either dealing with sex and love. Love is definitely a recurring theme in 95% of these songs, if not more. He loved his love. There's no doubt about it. Very interesting album cover. The woman with the snake around her neck. And then we get the back shot. Let's take a look at the vinyl. Has the lyrics on that side. And more snake and body parts over here. And that continues on the other side. Like I said, it's a good, solid British rock and roll album from the 80s. when hard rock was making a big comeback post-punk. Whitesnake was a big player in that, and they became an even bigger player as the 80s went on. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you're enjoying our discussions here and you like the content, please like and, more importantly, subscribe. Until next week, good night, YouTube.